Hello there again. Are you easily manipulated? Because I am. I've been thinking about that and writing about it a bit lately. So I thought I would make this third video, or second, kind of video about why I'm easily manipulated. And I've created this little cozy nook for myself in my office here. I've got a lovely candle. I've got my, sorry about that noise. I've got some tea, very good. And yeah, because I went outside I thought, oh, the sun was shining earlier today. I thought, I'll just go for a nice walk and in the snow and, video myself. And that'll be cool. But it was like insanely windy out there. So did not do that. So here we have tea in the office. Pause to actually drink the tea. And if I get some editing software and actually do a proper job of this, I could have like something going across the screen at that point. But that's for another day. So I've got this Christmas morning tea. It's a lovely one. I'm easily manipulated, okay? It's not great. I've got myself into so many situations that I shouldn't be in because of that. Actual dangerous situations when I was younger, and when I was older actually, which could be a really interesting story, but I'm not quite ready to tell those stories yet. So I came up with 5 reasons why I'm easily manipulated. And, watching some of these YouTube video tutorials where people tell you how to do it, I watched a couple of those to kind of see what was out there. And a lot of them, they say, you have to, have 10 reasons why this, or 3 reasons, whatever, why you need to throw out all your clothes, something crazy. And because people will watch to the end of the video, that's the hope. So anyway, see if you can make it till number 5, and let me know what you think. Are you easily manipulated? Does it annoy you when other people are easily manipulated? Because I can see that too. Why are you such a jellyfish? Like, why won't you stand up and say no, or just stick up for yourself? So I'm learning to do that a lot more. The first reason sounds kind of odd, but I genuinely love people. I don't just say that I do. I don't just want to please them. I actually love and care about people. And so I do want to make them happy. And so when someone asks me to do something, or I feel like there's an expectation, I am genuinely trying to do it out of love for them. That's one of the reasons. So that's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. But how can I be making these good things kind of bad? Well, depends how you react. So the second thing is goes along with it, and it's being a people pleaser. So number 2, people pleaser. That label has stuck with me for many years, and I don't like it. But I used to think it was good. I used to be like, people like me are just out there so that other people can have somewhere to wipe their feet, or I'm just like a rung on the ladder, and other people can just use me to get where they need to go. I don't mind that. I'm good with that. Somehow I convinced myself of that. So when friends would try and get me to do things, or I remember this one story where a friend of mine and I we were playing with these like princess dresses, these beautiful dresses, and we were probably about 8 or 9, somewhere in there. And she just, of course it was her house, so she could wear the most beautiful dress, but she dressed me up in this other one, and that was, not quite as nice. And I think, I don't know, I was like the ugly stepsister, or I was something that, looking back, I'm like, why didn't I say, no, I want to do this? I just kind of went along with it. So that people-pleasing thing, it's not good, because when you always want to please people, it's because you're codependent. So your emotional state, your feeling like you're okay, is tied to other people's emotional state. So I can't be okay unless you're happy. And so it's just this kind of hypervigilance that happens with that too, which is not good. The third reason is I'm really easily guilted. So I feel a lot of guilt, ridiculous amounts. It's kind of fading now that I am the age that I am and have gone through a lot of life experiences, and realize that this guilt is coming mainly from myself. And no one is, well, some people do try to make you feel guilty, but especially I find unfortunately, in Christian settings, right? Because guilt is a big part of if you sin, if you do something wrong and you feel guilty about it. And so I've found growing up that the powers that be could easily kind of guilt Christian kids into doing things, especially because there was that whole like aspect of wanting to please God as well, and feeling guilty. I feel really bad if I let someone down. It's not a good feeling. And so I would rather not feel that guilt than set a boundary. I would rather just do the thing than feel the guilt. And how many times have I just done so, like over and over again, until the point that I'm at now, which is a point of really being burned out, kind of bummed out, kind of trying to reset. So loving people, being a people pleaser, easily manipulated with guilt, and then I back down on my boundaries. That's the fourth thing. I back down. So even if I set a boundary, I say, here's the line, here's the boundary of my property, here's where my time begins and yours ends. If anyone pushes back on that, I will just, whoa, never mind. What's mine is yours. Like, come on in. So I have really, really jellyfish weak boundaries. And so if you have any, tips or tricks for how to keep a boundary, because it feels controlling and selfish, right? Just like I was talking in the last video about saying no is limiting. It's a limiting word. Boundaries feel like I am just being greedy and selfish with my time and my resources. And so yeah, I back down, but I'm learning to not do that. So we'll see. Intermission to sip tea. I understand now why these YouTubers always have their cup, it's for kind of like the set, but they never drink it. It's because it's an awkward pause and not maybe the greatest sound effects, right? Let's try it. Let's really go for it. Yeah, nobody wants to hear that. Okay. 4 things. The 5th thing is my imagination. So if I finally get some editing software, I can have like a glowing light around me and maybe the words on the screen. My imagination will create scenarios that do not exist, and that manipulates me into doing something that either I don't want to do, or I just find myself in situations doing something and I don't even remember saying yes to it, but I create this whole backstory. If somebody asks me to do something, if they suggest perhaps that I might be good at this or that, or why don't you, I just think, them suggesting something that's a command, right? It has to be a command. And then when I'm thinking about it in my own mind, either later on or even at the time, I'm imagining like, oh, I wonder what's going on with that. And I will just imagine all these terrible things that if I was only there, if I had only stepped up to the plate, if I had, had only done a little bit more, I could have avoided all this. And you know what? Almost like 90% of the time, maybe 98.5% of the time, none of that stuff is even anywhere on the radar. So having a great imagination is cool because I can always, I'm never bored. I'm always in my own mind imagining all kinds of things. But yeah, I noticed that. I'm like, I'm creating scenarios that don't exist. And so those are some reasons why I'm easily manipulated. There are a lot of other reasons. So I might make a part 2 of this, or a follow-up eventually. But I wanted to just throw those out there because those are the ones I thought of at first. I love people. I really want to be there for them. I'm a people pleaser. I struggle with that whole thing. I am easily led into doing things because of guilt. So yeah, it's easy to guilt me into doing something. And I back down when I do set a boundary. I just sound terribly weak. This is awful. I might have to delete this video. And my imagination. So you made it to the end. If you have any suggestions, if you are easily manipulated, or if you have a story or something like that, I'd love to hear it. And like the video if you liked it, and subscribe if you want to hear part 2, or you want to hear what I come up with next. I have a lot of ideas for videos, especially in regard to teaching and things like that. I'm just I'm just learning to get more comfortable on the camera, so I thought I'd talk about things that are more personal, more close to my heart, and have a little, chuckle at my own expense. So, all right, thanks so much for being here. Goodbye.